Hey, I'm Jade, and let me tell you, life's no walk in the park when you're juggling two jobs. I'm 25, living in this concrete jungle they call a city, and my most prized possession is this beat-up Toyota. It's probably older than me, but it gets me from point A to point B, and in this rat race, that's all that matters. Jade, honey, can you pass the potato salad? That's my mom, the real MVP. She raised me on her own after my deadbeat dad bailed because fatherhood wasn't his thing. So I'm at this family BBQ, you know, the kind where everyone pretends they don't secretly hate each other. And then there's Uncle Frank swaggering around like he owns the place. Well, if it isn't my favorite niece, Uncle Frank booms across the yard. I roll my eyes so hard I swear I see my brain. Hey, Uncle Frank, how's business? I ask, not that I care. Booming, as always. You could learn a thing or two about success from me. Yeah, success in being a pompous jerk, maybe. And then there's my cousin Brittany, Frank's pride and joy, flashing her engagement ring like it's the Hope Diamond. Jade, did you see my ring? Direct proposed in Paris. It was so romantic. That's great, Britt, I'm happy for you. I lie, counting down the minutes until I can escape. But of course, Uncle Frank corners me by the grill, reeking of expensive cologne. Jade, my girl, we need to talk about Brittany's wedding. I feel a headache coming on. What about it? It's going to be the event of the season. Bali, 5-star resort, the works. But these things don't come cheap. Aha, I mutter, looking for an exit. We're expecting everyone to chip in, family duty, and all that. I almost choke. Chip in? Uncle Frank, I'm barely making rent. He waves his hand dismissively. Details. I've got it all figured out. That car of yours? It's seen better days. Why not sell it and contribute the money to Brittany's special day? For a second, I think I'm having a stroke. Sell my car. Are you out of your mind? I need it for work. Not now, don't be selfish. After all we've done for you. I cut him off. All you've done? Uncle Frank, you've never done jack for me or Mom. His face turns a lovely shade of purple. Listen here, young lady. This family always looks out for each other. It's time you pulled your weight. Sell the car, contribute to the wedding. It's not a request. After that disaster of a BBQ, I knew something was off about Uncle Frank's so-called success. It smelled fishier than week-old sushi, and I was determined to figure out what. First stop, Aunt Mildred, Dad's sister. She's always had loose lips, especially after a few gin and tonics. Oh honey, you wouldn't believe the stories I could tell you about Frank, she slurred over the phone. Remember that big promotion he got back in '08? Well, let's just say his boss's wife was very appreciative of Frank's overtime work, if you catch my drift. Bingo, I have my first lead. I spent days glued to my laptop, digging through public records and social media. And then, jackpot, a string of fraud complaints against Uncle Frank's company. Time to call in the cavalry. I hit up my best friend, Marcus. Yo, what's good? He answered, probably buried in some coding project. I need your tech wizardry. How'd you like to help me take down a major Dutchback? I could hear him grinning through the phone. Girl, you had me at takedown. What's the plan? We met up at our favorite dive bar, the Rusty Nail. Between rounds of cheap beer, I laid out everything I'd found. Holy crap, Jade, your uncle's not just a jerk. He's a criminal jerk. We gotta nail this guy to the wall. That's where you come in, tech boy. I need access to his computer, his phone, everything. Can you do it? Marcus cracked his knuckles. Can I do it? Does a bear, well, you know, give me 48 hours, and I'll have more dirt on Frank than a pig in a mud pit. Meanwhile, the ballet wedding drama was turning into a full-blown soap opera. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Asterisk, sweetheart, can you come over? I need to talk to you about something I found asterisk. I arrived to find Mom at the kitchen table, surrounded by brochures and a calculator. She looked like she aged 10 years overnight. What's up, Mom? You look stressed. It's this wedding, honey. Brittany's asking everyone to pay for their own flights and hotel rooms. I don't know how I'm going to afford it. My blood boiled. Mom, you can't be serious. That's ridiculous. I know, but it's family. Frank says it's the least we can do for Brittany's special day. I bit my tongue to keep from exploding. Mom, listen to me. You don't owe them anything. If they can't afford their fancy wedding, that's their problem. Just then, my phone pinged. It was Marcus. Jade, you're not going to believe what I found. I kissed Mom on the cheek. I gotta run, but promise me you won't do anything crazy like take out a loan for this wedding, okay? She nodded, but I could see the worry in her eyes. It only fueled my determination. At Marcus's place, he pulled up a series of documents on his computer. Check this out, he said, eyes gleaming. Your uncle's been cooking the books for years. Embezzlement, fraud, you name it. But that's not even the worst part. He clicked to another screen, and my stomach dropped. He's been scamming old folks, promising crazy returns on fake investments and draining their savings. I felt sick. We've got him, Marcus grinned. Oh, we're just getting started. I've got a plan, hidden cameras in his office, and with some social engineering, I can get access to his entire digital life. As we plotted, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Brittany. Jade, darling, I hope you're excited about Bali. I had the most fabulous idea. How about you be one of my bridesmaids? Of course, you'll need to buy the dress. It's only $500, and you look absolutely divine. I muted the call, resisting the urge to throw my phone across the room. Marcus, we need to move fast. These people are out of control. He nodded, his face serious. Don't worry, Jay. By the time we're done, Uncle Frank's going to wish he never messed with you or your family. Looking at the growing pile of evidence on Marcus's screen, I felt a mix of anger and satisfaction. Uncle Frank thought he was untouchable, but he had no idea what was coming. A storm was brewing, and I was about to rain all over his parade. Fast forward to the night of Brittany's big engagement bash. I'm all dolled up, looking like I stepped straight out of a magazine. But beneath this designer dress, I'm strapped with enough tech to make James Bond jealous. I roll up to the swanky hotel, crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, the works. Uncle Frank really pulled out all the stops. Jade, darling, you made it. Brittany squeals, air kissing my cheeks. And you're wearing the bridesmaid dress. I knew you'd come around. I force a smile, wouldn't miss it for the world. My phone buzzes. Everything's set. All systems go, Jay. Operation Karma is a go. I make my way to the sound system, casually, like I'm just checking things out. That's when Uncle Frank grabs the mic. Friends, family, esteemed colleagues, he begins. We're here to celebrate love, but also family. Family is everything. I snort quietly. Yeah. Right. Family's everything when you're bleeding them dry. As he drones on, I slip the USB into the sound system. Showtime. Suddenly, Frank's voice booms through the speakers, but it's not his speech. These old farts are like ATMs. I'm telling you, just flash a fake prospectus, promise them the moon, and bam, they are forking over their life savings. The room goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Then another clip plays. Who cares if the company goes under? By the time anyone figures it out, I'll be sipping margaritas in a country with no extradition treaty. Frank's face turns ghostly white. He lunges for the sound system, but I'm quicker. What's wrong? Uncle Frank, don't like hearing yourself. Just then, the doors burst open, and in walk two cops. Francis Reeves, you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and financial exploitation of the elderly. It's been a wild ride since Uncle Frank's perp walk at the engagement party. The family's been turned upside down, but honestly, it needed a shake-up. I'm at Mom's place, helping her sort through some bills when Aunt Karen barges in, her dramatic flair on full display. Did you hear? They've seized everything. Frank's accounts, the house, even Brittany's wedding fund. Mom looks shocked. Everything. But what about Brittany? The wedding? I can't help but snort. Pretty sure Bally's off the table unless she's cool with a beach made of concrete and barbed wire. Aunt Karen glares at me. This is all your fault, Jade. You've ruined everything. My fault. Frank's the one who decided to play Bernie Madoff with other people's money. I just exposed the truth. Mom steps in, surprising me. Karen, that's enough. Frank did this to himself, and to all of us. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's Marcus. Jay, you're not going to believe this. Frank's company is offering a reward for whistleblowers. You're looking at a fat chunk of change, girl. I'm floored. For real? How much we talking? Enough to make a serious dent in your student loans, and then some. After I hang up, I break the news to Mom and Aunt Karen. Mom's eyes go wide. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. You deserve it. After everything, Aunt Karen looks like she's sucking on a lemon. Well, I hope you're planning to share that money with the family. After all, we're all victims here. I laugh. You know what? You're right. I am going to share it. Mom, how about we pay off your mortgage? And I know Uncle Pete's been struggling since his layoff. Maybe we can help him out too. Aunt Karen's jaw drops. But what about Brittany and me? Sorry, Karen. Karma's a asterisk, 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 isn't it? Weeks pass, and things start to settle into a new normal. I'm driving to my new job. Turns out, exposing corporate fraud looks pretty good on a resume. Later that night, I get a text from Brittany. Asterisk K, cuz, got a sec to talk asterisk. Curious, I call her back. Jade, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I had no idea what Dad was doing, and I was awful to you and Aunt Lisa. I'm silent for a moment, processing. Thanks, Britt. That means a lot. I'm working as a waitress now, she continues, living in this tiny studio. It's not what I'm used to. Welcome to the real world, cuz. It ain't always pretty, but it's honest. There's a pause, and then she asks, do you think maybe we could get coffee sometime? Start over. I think about it. Part of me wants to tell her to kick rocks, but yeah, Britt, I think we can do that. As I hang up, I can't help but smile. Life's funny sometimes. You think you know how things are going to go, and then bam, everything changes. The story's over, but let's talk. If you were in Jade's shoes, would you have exposed Uncle Frank's crimes, knowing it could tear your family apart? Or would you have kept quiet to maintain family peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're dying to hear what asterisk you asterisk would do in this situation. If you enjoyed this wild ride, smash that like button and subscribe. Hi, I'm Ella Gordon. This morning I woke up bursting with excitement, imagining cake, presents, and maybe even a party. I rushed to the kitchen, hoping to see balloons or a banner, anything to mark that today was special. But when I got there, the kitchen was eerily quiet. No smell of pancakes or bacon like I'd hoped. Dad was at the table, his eyes fixed on his laptop, while Marianne, his new wife, was busy tapping away on her phone. Happy birthday, Ella, Dad muttered without looking up. Thanks, Dad. Are we doing anything special today? I asked, trying to hide the hope in my voice. Marianne finally looked up from her phone, her expression blank. Richard, did you tell her? Dad sighed, closing his laptop with a snap. Ella, we need to talk. It's about your room. My heart sank. My room? Yes, Marianne needs a proper office now that she's working from home full-time. We've decided to turn your room into that space. But where will I sleep? I asked, my voice trembling. You'll be staying with your Aunt Sarah in Newton, Dad explained, as if it was a minor change, not sending me away. A lump formed in my throat. For how long? This will be permanent, Ella. It's for the best. You'll like it at Sarah's, Dad said, his voice flat. But it's my birthday, I whispered, my voice cracking. Marianne stood up, smoothing her skirt. You'll understand when you're older. This is important for us, for the family business. I wanted to argue, cry, scream that it was unfair, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. So I went to my room, or what used to be my room, and started packing. A couple of hours later, Aunt Sarah arrived. She gave me the warmest hug as soon as she saw me. Happy birthday, Ella. I'm so sorry about all this, but we'll make sure you have the best time with us. The car ride to Aunt Sarah's was quiet. I spent most of it staring out the window, trying not to cry. When we got there, my cousins Alex and Jamie were waiting at the door, grinning and holding a homemade banner that read, Happy birthday, Ella. The rest of the day was a blur of cake, laughter, and games. Aunt Sarah made my favorite chocolate cake, and Alex and Jamie even got me a few gifts, including a telescope. For your love of stars, Alex said, winking at me. As the day ended, I lay in my new room, staring at the ceiling. Aunt Sarah had made sure it was filled with everything I liked. The walls were painted my favorite shade of light blue, and there were new drawing supplies and books about stars on the desk. Thanks for making today special, I whispered as Aunt Sarah came to say goodnight. Of course, sweetie. This is your home now, too. We'll make sure you have everything you need, she replied, kissing my forehead. As I drifted off to sleep, I realized that maybe, just maybe, things could be okay here. Maybe despite how the day started, it could still be a happy birthday. Life at Aunt Sarah's was a lot different than back at Dad's. Here, every morning started with a big breakfast and a hug, not just a hurried slice of toast. Aunt Sarah was always up early, making sure Alex, Jamie, and I had everything we needed for school. She was a teacher at our school, so we all walked together most mornings, chatting about everything from homework to the latest school gossip. At school, I found myself actually enjoying the lessons, especially art and science, my two favorite subjects. Aunt Sarah was an amazing teacher, not just at home but in the classroom too. She had this way of explaining things that just made everything click. One day, while working on a group project about constellations, I shared my telescope view from the weekend. My classmates were so impressed, and my teacher even suggested I enter my project in the upcoming science fair. Meanwhile, I heard bits and pieces about Dad and Marianne from Alex and Jamie. Things weren't going so great. Marianne's business was struggling, something about losing a major client, and it was causing a lot of tension. Dad said they might have to sell the house if things don't get better. Alex whispered to us one afternoon as we worked on our homework in the living room. Yeah, and Marianne was yelling again last night. I heard her through the phone, Jamie added, looking worried. I felt bad for them, sort of, but it was hard to really feel anything after how they treated me on my birthday. Aunt Sarah noticed us whispering and gave us a smile. Why don't you three take a break? Let's go get some ice cream. As we walked to the ice cream shop, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. This was what family was supposed to feel like. We joked and laughed, and for a while, I forgot about Dad and Marianne. The science fair was a turning point for me. My project on constellations won first place, and I was even featured in the local newspaper. Aunt Sarah framed the article and hung it on the refrigerator, right in the center, like a medal of honor. Look at that, Ella. You're a star, she joked, winking at me. Yeah, and not just in astronomy, Alex chimed in, and we all burst into laughter. I started a small art project, painting scenes from the constellations I loved. Each star felt like a point of light in my new life, a tiny victory. That evening, as we sat down to dinner, Aunt Sarah raised her glass of water and a toast. To new beginnings and bright futures. To new beginnings, Alex and Jamie echoed. I smiled, warmth spreading through me. And to stars, both the ones in the sky and the ones here with me. We clinked glasses, and I realized that no matter what happened, I was home. I was resilient, and this was just the beginning. I couldn't wait to see what else I could achieve, not in spite of my past, but because of my new beginning here with a family that truly cared. As months rolled by, I felt more connected to my new life in Newton with each passing day. My artwork started gaining attention, and I was invited to display my pieces at a regional exhibition. It was a big deal for someone my age, and Aunt Sarah helped me prepare every step of the way. The night before the exhibition, Jamie rushed into the kitchen, foam in hand, excitement in his eyes. Ella, you have to hear this. He played a voicemail accidentally sent to Aunt Sarah's phone by Dad, intended for someone else. Dad's voice was shaky, filled with stress. Tom Briggs has gone to the authorities. He knows about the Henderson deal. I don't know what I'm going to do if this gets out. I felt a mix of shock and curiosity. Tom Briggs, he was a name I remembered from Dad's old dinner parties, always spoken with a hint of respect and fear. Dad's in trouble, I whispered, more to myself than to Jamie. Yeah, and it sounds bad, Jamie replied, his tone serious. At the exhibition, as I set up my paintings, Aunt Sarah noticed my distracted look. What's on your mind, Ella? I hesitated but decided to tell her about the voicemail. As I explained, her expression shifted from concern to determination. We can't control what happens there, Ella. But we're here now, and this, your art, is what matters today. She encouraged, her voice firm yet gentle. I nodded, taking a deep breath. The exhibition was crowded with people of all ages admiring the artwork. When they came to mine, I heard them praising the depth and emotion in my paintings. It felt surreal hearing strangers discuss my art so passionately. Meanwhile, back at Dad's, things were falling apart. Marianne's demands had drained their finances, and now with the fraudulent deal exposed, they faced not just monetary loss but a loss of reputation. Dad was suspended from work pending an investigation, and the stress was too much for Marianne. Her relationships with her clients deteriorated as her professional network learned of the scandal. A week later, while painting in my new studio, a small setup Aunt Sarah had helped me put together in the basement, I received a text from Dad. It was the first time he'd reached out since I moved. Ella, I need to talk to you. It's important. Please. I stared at the message, conflicted. Part of me was furious, wanting nothing to do with him or his problems. Another part was curious about what he wanted, about how badly things had gone wrong. I decided not to respond right away, focusing instead on my painting. It was a piece inspired by the chaos of the stars, a swirling mass of colors and shapes that somehow found harmony on the canvas. It was like my life, chaotic and scattered at times, but finding new alignments and patterns that made sense in ways the old ones never did. As I added the final touches to my painting, I realized that, like my art, I was no longer defined by the fragments of my past, but by the new wholeness I was creating. No matter what Dad's message might mean, I knew I had the strength to face it, just like I had faced everything else so far. It was a sunny afternoon when I finally decided to call Dad back. Aunt Sarah stood by my side, offering silent support as I dialed the number. When Dad answered, his voice was tired and hollow. Ella, thank you for calling back. I have made a mess of everything. I'm so sorry. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words, but also the strength of my new life bolstering me. What do you need, Dad? It's all falling apart, Ella. I might lose my license to practice law, and Marianne, she's left. I don't have anyone. I was hoping you'd come back. Maybe we could start over. I paused, the offer hanging in the air. The old Ella might have jumped at the chance to return to what was familiar, but I wasn't that Ella anymore. Dad, I have started over, but here, with Aunt Sarah and my cousins. I have school, art, a whole life that doesn't include feeling like I'm just in the way. I'm sorry you're in trouble, but I can't fix that for you. There was a long silence on the line, and then a soft, resigned sigh. I understand. I guess I hoped. Well, it doesn't matter. Take care of yourself, Ella. You too, Dad, I said, and then hung up. The days that followed were busy as I prepared for another art exhibition. This one was special. It was hosted at my school, showcasing young local artists, and I was one of the featured participants. As I arranged my paintings, each one a vibrant testament to my journey and growth, I felt a sense of accomplishment I'd never experienced before. The school gym was transformed into a gallery, with artwork hanging on every available space and small crowds of students, teachers, and community members milling around. Aunt Sarah was bustling about, ensuring everything went smoothly, while Alex and Jamie handed out programs at the door. I stood beside my paintings, ready to explain my work to anyone curious enough to ask. This one is called Stellar Resilience, I explained to a group of younger students, pointing at a large canvas covered in swirling blues and silvers. It represents finding order in chaos, something beautiful emerging from turmoil. As the evening progressed, the gym filled with laughter and chatter. The local news even stopped by, interviewing some of us about our inspirations and future aspirations. Toward the end of the event, I stepped back to take it all in. The gym was alive with color and sound, every piece of art telling its own story. I caught Aunt Sarah's eye across the room, and she smiled at me, her pride evident. As the crowd began to thin, Alex and Jamie joined me, each slinging an arm over my shoulder. "You'd agree, Ella," Jamie said, giving me a quick squeeze. "Yeah, you're like a celebrity now," Alex added, laughing. I laughed with them, feeling light and hopeful. "Thanks, guys. I couldn't have done any of this without you." The final scene was simple but powerful. My family and friends gathered around me, everyone chatting and laughing under the soft glow of the gym lights. I looked around at the faces of those who had supported me, who had helped me find my path, and I knew this was exactly where I was meant to be. With a genuine smile, I realized this wasn't just a new chapter in my life. Hey there, I'm Sarah. I'm your average 38-year-old suburban mom with 2 kids, Zach and Emma. My husband, Mark, is a big-shot lawyer, and we've got the whole picture-perfect life with a big house and a white picket fence. I work part-time as a graphic designer, mostly to keep busy while the kids are at school. Mark rakes in the big bucks. I do my artsy thing, and the kids, well, they've been acting a bit off lately, but I just figured it's the usual teenage stuff. One day, I'm in the kitchen making dinner when Zach pops his head in. "Hey, Mom, what's for dinner?" "Just some lasagna." "Hungry?" He shrugs. "Nah, just curious. So, you going anywhere tonight?" I raise an eyebrow. "Not that I know of." "Why?" "No reason," he says quickly. "Just wondering if I could have a friend over." Something about his tone feels off. but I brush it aside. Sure, honey, just finish your homework first. Later that week, I'm folding laundry when Emma comes in, her thumb glued to her hand as usual. Mom, can I borrow your car keys? I think I left my jacket in there. Since when do you care about a jacket? It's the middle of summer, I laugh. She fidgets. Oh, just want to check. I tossed her the keys, and she bolts out the door faster than I've ever seen her move. When she comes back, she's empty-handed but looking relieved. Found it? I ask. Oh yeah, it wasn't there after all, she mumbles. These little moments keep piling up. The kids always seem to know where I am and what I'm doing, like they've got a GPS tracker on me or something. Then came that Friday night. Mark was working late, as usual, and I was about to head upstairs when I heard hushed voices from his home office. Curiosity got the better of me, and I crept closer to listen. Good job, kids, I heard Mark say. Here's the usual payment. Keep it up, and there might be a bonus in it for you. Sure thing, Dad, Zach replied. We've got it covered. Yeah, Mom doesn't suspect a thing, Emma chimed in. My blood ran cold. Payment for what? And why were they talking about me? I couldn't sleep that night, my mind racing with a million questions. The next morning, I decided to play it cool, act like nothing was wrong. But I was on high alert. At breakfast, Emma casually asked, So, Mom, you hitting the gym today? Why? You need a ride somewhere? Nah, just curious. I narrow my eyes. Actually, I might, or I might not. Haven't decided yet. Emma and Zach exchanged a quick glance, and that's when it hit me. They were fishing for information. Later that day, I called my best friend Jen. Girl, you won't believe what's going on in my house. Spill it, Sarah. What's up? I told her everything, the kids' weird behavior, the conversation I overheard. Damn, that's messed up. You think Mark's cheating? I don't know what to think anymore. It's like I'm living in some twisted reality show. You need to get to the bottom of this. Why don't you set up a hidden camera? A camera? Isn't that, I don't know, illegal or something? It's your house, Sarah. Besides, desperate times call for desperate measures. She had a point. That afternoon, I bought a tiny camera disguised as a phone charger. Sneaky, right? I set it up in the living room, right where I could see Mark's office door. Sure enough, I saw Mark come home early, which was weird enough. But then his secretary, Lisa, showed up not 5 minutes later. They disappeared into his office for over an hour. And when they came out, her lipstick was smudged, and his shirt was untucked. My stomach churned. Later that evening, Mark called the kids into his office. All right, team, what's the update on your mother? She went to the grocery store this afternoon, Zach reported. Yeah, and she was on the phone with Aunt Karen for like an hour, Emma added. Mark nodded approvingly. Good work. Here's your payment. Keep it up, and there might be a raise in your future. I felt sick. My own kids, my flesh and blood, spying on me for cash. And Mark, that lying, cheating bastard. The next day, I waited until Mark left for work. Then I sat the kids down. We need to talk. Is this about the gym? Because I swear I was just asking. Emma started. I cut her off. No, it's not about the gym. It's about you two spying on me for your father. Their faces went pale. Zach tried to deny it, but I wasn't having it. Save it. I know everything. The question is, why? Why would you do this to your own mother? Emma burst into tears. We're sorry, Mom. Dad said it was just a game at first. He said he was worried about you and wanted to make sure you were safe. Yeah, Zach chimed in, his voice shaky. But then he started offering us money, and it just, I don't know, it felt cool, like we were secret agents or something. Secret agents? Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how much this hurts me? We're really sorry, Mom. We'll stop, we promise, Emma sobbed. I took a deep breath. It's not just about stopping. Your father, he's been cheating on me with his secretary. Their eyes widened in shock. What? No way, Zach exclaimed. Yes way. And now I need you two to tell me everything, every detail of what your father asked you to do. For the next hour, they spilled their guts. By the time Mark came home that evening, I was ready. Hey honey, and ho. Save it, Mark. I want you out of this house. Now. What? What are you talking about? I held up my phone, showing him the footage I captured. Ring any bells, or should I call Lisa and ask her? You spied on me? How dare you? How dare I? How dare you, cheating on me, turning our kids into your personal spy network? It's over, Mark. I'm filing for divorce. He tried to argue, tried to manipulate, but I stood my ground. Your Honor, I'm deeply concerned about my children's well-being. Sarah has been exhibiting erratic behavior. I couldn't believe my ears. Me, erratic? This coming from the guy who turned our kids into his personal CIA? Objection, Your Honor. These claims are completely unfounded. My lawyer interjected. The judge looked at me sternly. Mrs. Johnson, please. Mr. Johnson has the floor. I bit my tongue as Mark spun his web of lies. When we left the courtroom, I was fuming. Can you believe this crap? He's trying to take my kids. Jen put her arm around me. We'll figure this out, Sarah. My brother Tom is a PI, remember? Maybe he can help. That night, we met Tom at a dingy bar downtown. So let me get this straight, Tom said, nursing a beer. Your ex is a hotshot lawyer with connections up the wazoo, and you want dirt on him. That's right. There's got to be something. No one's that squeaky clean. Tom scratched his chin. Well, I've heard whispers about some of his business dealings. Nothing concrete, but where there's smoke. That's more than I've got now. What do you need from me? Get close to him again. Make him think you're considering reconciliation. He'll let his guard down. I nearly choked on my drink. Get close to him? Are you insane? Jen chimed in. It's brilliant, Sarah. He won't suspect a thing. I sighed. Fine, but I'm going to need a lot of showers after this. The next day, I swallowed my pride and called Mark. Hey, can we talk? I've been thinking. Sarah, unsure. Coffee at Mario's? Perfect. At the cafe, I plastered on my best fake smile. You're looking well, Mark. He preened like a peacock. Thanks, you too. So what's on your mind? I took a deep breath. I've been thinking about us, about the kids. Maybe we acted too hastily. His eyes lit up. Gotcha, you bastard. Really? I mean, I've been saying all along that we should think of the children. For the next hour, I listened to him blather on about family values while resisting the urge to dump my latte in his lap. One night, Tom called with news. Sarah, we've hit the jackpot. Your ex has been cooking the books for some pretty shady clients. We're talking mock connections, money laundering, the works. My jaw dropped. Holy, what do we do with this? We set up a sting, but we'll need insider help. That's when I turned to Zach and Emma. Kids, I need your help. It's time to turn the tables on your dad. Emma looked nervous. What do you mean, Mom? Remember how he had you spy on me? Well, now I need you to do some spying for the good guys. Zach's eyes widened. Like real secret agents? Exactly, but this time, we're bringing down the bad guy. They exchanged glances, then nodded solemnly. We're in, Zach said. What do you need us to do? I laid out the plan. They'd accidentally let slip to Mark about a big charity gala I was attending. Tom would make sure Mark's shadiest client was there too. You got this, girl. Just get him talking and let the hidden mech do the rest, Tom instructed. I took a deep breath and headed into the lion's den. Mark was there, looking annoyingly handsome in his tux. Sarah, wow, you look incredible. I forced a smile. Thanks, you clean up pretty well yourself. As we mingled, I steered him towards his client, a greasy-looking guy named Tommy. Mark, darling, aren't you going to introduce me to your friend? Mark looked uncomfortable. Oh, this is Tommy, just a client. Tommy, this is my wife, Sarah. Tommy leered at me. Charmed. Mark, we still on for that thing we discussed? Tommy asked. Mark coughed nervously. Tommy, not here. I feigned innocence. Oh, don't mind me. I'd love to hear about Mark's work. He's always so secretive about it. As they talked, I sipped champagne and listened intently, knowing every word was being recorded. By the end of the night, we had enough to bury Mark and his crooked clients. As we left, Mark tried to kiss me. I turned my cheek. Thanks for a lovely evening, Mark. See you in court. His confused face was priceless. Little did he know, his empire was about to come crashing down. The morning after the gala, I woke up feeling like $1,000,000. I'd barely slept, but the adrenaline was still pumping. I called Tom first thing. Please tell me you got everything. Crystal clear, Sarah. Your ex and his buddy Tony might as well have confessed to the judge directly. The FBI's chomping at the bit. The next few days were a whirlwind. Tom worked closely with the FBI to plan the takedown, and they decided to make a real spectacle of it at Mark's office. I insisted on being there. I wanted to see that smug smile wiped off his face. When I walked into his office, Mark looked surprised but pleased. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" I smiled sweetly. "Oh, just wanted to talk about our future, clear the air." He leaned back in his chair, cocky as ever. "I'm glad you've come to your senses. I always knew you'd realize what a mistake you were making." "Oh, I've realized a lot of things, Mark, like how you've been laundering money for the mob." His face went white. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb. I know everything, the cooked books, the shady clients, all of it." He started to sweat. "Now, Sarah, let's not get carried away. I'm sure we can work something out." Just then, the door burst open and FBI agents flooded in, guns drawn. "Mark Johnson, you're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, and racketeering." As they cuffed him, Mark looked at me with pure hatred. "You set me up. You." I couldn't help but smirk. Payback's a honey, and so am I. 1 year later, and man, what a difference. I'm sitting in my new office. Yeah, that's right. I started my own graphic design firm, and business is booming. Zach pokes his head in. "Mom, can I go to Jake's house after therapy?" "Sure, honey. How's that going, by the way?" He shrugs. "It's okay. Dr. Martinez says I'm making progress with my trust issues." I smile. "That's great, sweetie. I'm proud of you." As he leaves, Emma comes in, all teenage attitude. "Mom, can we talk about extending my curfew?" "Nice try, kiddo. We'll discuss it when you're 30. She rolls her eyes but can't hide her grin. We're doing okay, the three of us. Later that day, I decide to treat myself to lunch at this cute new cafe downtown. As I'm waiting for my order, I hear a familiar voice. "Sarah, is that you?" I turn around and nearly drop my purse. It's Lisa, Mark's ex-secretary, wearing a waitress uniform. "Lisa, wow, hi." She looks embarrassed. I heard about Mark. I'm so sorry. I had no idea." I cut her off. "Save it. You knew exactly what you were doing." She hangs her head. "You're right. I was stupid and selfish. I lost my job when the firm went under. This is all I could get." Part of me wants to gloat, but I take the high road. Well, I hope you've learned something from all this. As I walk out with my latte, I can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Mark's serving 10 years, lost his law license, and his little side piece is serving lats. Meanwhile, I'm thriving. Life's funny like that. 1 minute you're the perfect wife in a seemingly perfect life. The next, you're a single mom taking on the world. But you know what? I wouldn't change a thing. Well, maybe I have kicked Mark to the curb sooner, but hey, better late than never, right? If you found out your spouse was using your kids to spy on you, would you try to get revenge like Sarah did, or would you handle it differently? Where's the line between justice and vengeance in a situation like this?